Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news show and transfer news show. We've got lots and lots to talk about, but honestly, I was watching the Arsenal game and then they were too good, and I thought, well, fuck this, fuck Arsenal. Honestly, I'm more than happy to not watch Arsenal play because I went 2-0 up in 10 minutes. I thought, screw that. So I do apologise. I was actually late for this live because, believe it or not, for some reason I thought the live was at 7. It was at 6:45. But let's get into the news because no one wants to watch Arsenal win a 3-0 up when you're a miserable Manchester United fan, and Saliba smacking it in the top bins. But we've got to talk about Moises Caicedo, we've got to talk about Antony Gakpo, and we've also got to talk about Casemiro and a name that you don't want to hear, Frenkie fucking de Jong. Yes, we've got to go and talk about Frenkie de Jong. Because Frenkie de Jong is still being linked to Manchester United yet again. But I want to get into the Cody Gakpo news to start. And just because this has come out from a really, really reliable source, what I'll do as always is let me get it up on my screen so you guys can see all the news that's come out and all of that. Obviously, Antony has ditched training, and that has been confirmed by Mr. Fabrizio Romano. So let me share my screen with you guys because otherwise it'll go blurry and buffering. Hopefully the quality is all right as well. ADNL, really, really good source. They were like the first to get on the Malacia stuff, and you know they've not missed this window at all. They said there's a real chance that Manchester United sign Cody Gakpo. And there's even reports coming in from Romano, and Fabrizio Romano said we're working on deals to sign both Cody Gakpo and Antony. So 2 attackers in. Could this be linked to Ronaldo leaving? Could we just be signing 1 but going for 2 so we have 1 ready to back up? Could this be that Rashford was rumoured to leave for 60 million? But ADNL, a very reliable source, also said that Manchester United are reluctant to move for Antony at his price tag and are now considering other options. And obviously, Cody Gakpo is the second option. It's been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, ADNL, and Tier 1 Dutch journalists that United are in for Cody Gakpo, who will cost between 30 to 40 million, around 35 million pounds. And while I know Antony is the first choice, if Ajax are rejecting 75 million pound bids for Antony, you might as well get Cody Gakpo for 35 million and save that 40 million and go and buy a box-to-box to partner Casemiro. Because if someone said to me, you get Antony and Casemiro or you get Casemiro, de Jong and Gakpo, I'd say Casemiro, de Jong and Gakpo. Obviously, if we can get 60 million for Rashford, if the reports about Newcastle giving us 30 million for McTominay and Chelsea and for Maguire and Ronaldo leaves and we sell a lot of players, I mean, all 3 is possible. And reportedly, it's come out that we now have a £300 million budget as well, guys, which is absolutely crazy news. And Antony's set to be dropped from the Ajax squad tomorrow. I want to quickly get into the Antony news, and then I will get into the main story. But big up everybody in the chat. Hello to Paul watching. Hello to everybody watching. Someone said no sound. Is this a troll or is the sound not working? What is the quality like? Do let me know as well. No, not Gakpo. He's overrated. I mean, Gakpo's got better stats than Antony. If I can find it here, let me see. Let me show you the stats. I'll get them up now. So Antony, here it is. I'll get the tweet up for you. I saw this tweet yesterday. And it basically compared the price tag. Obviously, it's not all about stats. Bruno has amazing stats. Does that mean Bruno's the best player in the world? No. But Alex Turk, let me zoom out one for you guys, obviously did an Eredivisie thing. And Antony is going to be 85 million with 21 starts, 8 goals and 4 assists. Cody Gakpo is 38 million with 22 starts, 12 goals, 12 assists. As much as I like Antony's first choice, I think if Antony was 50 million and only 10 million more, fine, go for Antony. But you save 40 million for not going for Antony, and that 40 million could be put in a good box-to-box to partner Casemiro. So for me, I think Cody Gakpo is the more reasonable choice as well. Honestly, 300 million, how many years budgets are we burning through? This is the mad news. I want to get into the 300 million pound budget story, but first of all, just let me know what the quality is like of the video. But before I get into the 300 million pound budget story, guys, I just want to say this. And this is really important. Do not let any of this transfer news distract you from the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that the Glazers need to go. Now, I said this earlier. Richard Arnold said the money is there. But the money was 120 million. We had a 120 million pound budget. Then some Glazer out protest happens. Then Jim Ratcliffe goes public about wanting to buy United. And all of a sudden, our transfer budget has doubled. The reason our transfer budget has doubled is because now there's a buyer from Manchester United. The pressure is on more than ever for the Glazers to sell. Now, the Glazers do not want to sell, and there's a protest coming up which could drive them over the edge to sell the club. So they think if we can get Casemiro in before the protest, a deal they did in 2 days instead of 2 months, funny how they can get deals done quick when the pressure's on. If they go and say their budget is 300 million, then go and get De Jong and Antony, all of a sudden they think this protest will calm down, they think this Jim Ratcliffe news will die out, and they can continue rinsing their dividends out the club year by year. We were going to throw Ten Hag under the bus in his first season. The only reason we're not is because Jim Ratcliffe has gone public about wanting to buy United. So I will get into the £300 million budget story. I will get into the news, but I want you to bear that in mind. I want you to bear that in mind that we were willing to just give him Arnautovic and Rabiot and call it a day until the pressure was on them. Because they do not want to sell the club. And there's some more reports about them selling the club that we'll discuss in a second. But the pressure is on the Glazers. And I'm saying this now. No matter who we buy, no matter if we win, lose or draw, do not let it distract you from the bigger picture as well. Please, all United fans, protest peacefully as well. Stream is clear. Just someone said 300 million could be good if used for proper targets and invest in young players. But 30-year-old players, I do think with United, sometimes we have the money and we just invest it stupidly. I think we aren't always the best with money as well. So we need to be smart of how we spend our money as well. People saying Gakpo greater than Rashford. I don't know because Gakpo's only playing in the Eredivisie. As poor as Rashford's been, he did get us 20+ goals in the Premier League season. So let the Glazers spend 300 million and then leave. I mean, that's the ideal situation, Nick, isn't it? And isn't selling the club more lucrative than yearly dividends? 6 billion versus 30 a year. I think because of the debt that goes with it, they still have the debt if they sell the club. I think I'm not 100% sure, but it's just money that you consistently get in each year, rather than a large chunk. Get Herrera back from PSG, people are saying. But let me get into the news, guys. So do smash that like button. Do subscribe down below if you're new. Do share the video. My Wi-Fi is being shit as always, so I do apologise if we get some blurriness on the stream. Do keep me updated on the Arsenal score, not that I really want to know if they win, but honestly, Monday we'll get battered against Liverpool probably. I will get into my predicted lineup for the Liverpool game, but let's get into the big story. So obviously we'll talk about Casemiro, we'll talk about Antony and Gakpo. So Fabrizio Romano came out today and said Manchester United are now working on Antony as a priority as he wants to move to Old Trafford, but United are also keeping contacts open for Cody Gakpo. This was said by Fabrizio Romano this morning, and Ornstein and Romano have confirmed that basically we're working on both Antony and Cody Gakpo deals. So I'll get up on the screen there for you guys to have a look at. It was also said by Mullock of the Mirror. Now, this is the big report that I want to get into. This is the main report. This is the main bit of news. And Mullock of the Mirror, it said, just in, Manchester United will continue to pursue deals for Frenkie de Jong, Antony and Cody Gakpo after the club's owners gave the green light for Erik ten Hag to spend his way that has gripped Old Trafford, out of the crisis that has gripped Old Trafford. So you hear this now, and yes, he works for the Mirror, but Mullock of the Mirror is a very, Simon Mullock is a very, very good journalist, in the sense of he's been spot on with everything he said this window. And he said United are continuing on De Jong, Antony and Gakpo after the club's owners gave them the green light. Now, the only thing that I will say is the fact he's had to mention the club's owners gave the green light says to me, could this be a false story put out from the Glazers to distract the fans before the protest? Could this club's owners are giving the green light to buy De Jong, Antony and Gakpo? Could this be the owners' PR attempt? They're going to make everyone believe they're going to spend 300 million and get De Jong, Antony and Gakpo in. Could this be the club? Because I think, Mullock's a good journalist and he is briefed by the club, but I do think this is a PR spin. Because 1 week ago, we're getting Rabiot and Arnautovic and willing to throw Ten Hag under the bus. Then all of a sudden, we're going for De Jong, Antony and Gakpo. We're continuing to pursue deals for them. We're putting a new offer in for them. And, it's all because the club's owners have given the green light to do this. The fact they'd have to mention the club's owners in that says to me, I do worry that this is a bit of a PR spin. This is to distract us from the Glazers out movement. I think, guys, they brought Casemiro to distract us. They're sending out this news to distract us. All the fake reports about Ronaldo being a problem is to distract us. The Glazers are doing everything in their power to distract us from the Glazer out movement. And I think stories like this, where it's a good source and a good journalist, I just think this is just a tactic to distract us from the Glazers out movement is that, well, just read that only Joel Glazer is refusing to sell United and the rest of the Glazer family want to sell, says Nick. Yep, spot on. I will get into that story in a second. Apparently the Glazers are open to selling, but Joel Glazer isn't. So fuck you, Joel. But we'll get into that story in just a second. And I really hope the protests will go. The protests are still going ahead. 7 o'clock, guys, the protests start. Empty Old Trafford protest. If you can make it, make sure you go as well. The Mirror has been spot on since Ten Hag has taken over. You're absolutely right as well. And latest news is that PSV Eindhoven has set fee for Gakpo for Man United. That will probably be news coming in very, very soon. Arsenal are 4-0 up. Well, at least I've got Jesus captained on fantasy, but bloody Arsenal. I tell you what, though, Bournemouth are shit. I think we could beat Bournemouth. I really think we could beat Bournemouth. Following up with the news story, guys. Breaking: Manchester United, who will take their summer spending to 121 million barrier with the capture of 60 million Casemiro, will continue to land the trio of De Jong, Antony and Gakpo in a bid to lift the club out of trouble. So we followed up saying we're going to get, on top of the 121 million we spent, we're going to get Antony, De Jong and Gakpo to lift us out of trouble, according to Malik of the Mirror. Still saying that we are in for De Jong, which is the interesting one, is there. And I think maybe one of Rashford or Ronaldo is out, if that is the case. So he followed up by saying that. And then he said, just in, after Erik ten Hag warned them that the size of the task ahead was much bigger than he thought when he agreed to walk out on Ajax, the Glazers agreed to loosen the pure strings. And a source close to Ten Hag says Manchester United are going into the final days of their transfer window, all guns blazing. So the reporter continues to talk about the Glazers, saying they're loosening up their pockets to back Ten Hag. It is interesting. Now, this report is from a good journalist, but I don't 100% believe it, because this report has said twice the Glazers are going to loosen up their pockets. The Glazers have agreed to do the budget. They've had to mention the owners have agreed to do the budget. And for me, it looks like the club has briefed Mullock with this information, which we don't know if it's true or not, for the PR sake of the Glazers. And it's very, very obvious that this report, whether it's true or not, it could be true, it might not be true. He's a good journalist, but I think the main reason that Mullock's been briefed this by the club is because it's a distraction from the Glazers out protest. It's a PR piece by the Glazers. We're going back in for De Jong. We're going to get De Jong. We're going to get Antony. We're going to get Gakpo on top of Casemiro, on top of who we've already signed. We're going to spend 300 million. And you know what? I'll believe it when I see it. I think it's PR. The protest is coming up. I think there's going to be so many news reports, so many outlets, so many PR distractions to take us away from the protest. That's generally what I believe it is. We will have to wait and see, because Laurie Whitwell, a very reliable journalist, said yesterday that De Jong is over. So why are they saying we're going back in for De Jong? I just think this is PR. But Mullock did say a source close to Erik ten Hag says that United are going into the transfer window all guns blazing, and reportedly Erik ten Hag is worried that the ongoing rift with Cristiano Ronaldo will undermine his attempts to turn the club into a fortress, but buying two new forwards to strengthen his hands. So yet again, here we go. The report by Mullock goes in about Ten Hag's poor relationship with Ronaldo, and how Ten Hag's worried that Ronaldo's relationship with him will stop him succeeding. This, for me, this report is 100% briefed by the club to Mullock as a distraction. This report by Mullock, why it's a good report and why he's a good journalist, goes in about Ten Hag having a bad relationship with Ronaldo, and Ten Hag's worried that Ronaldo will undermine his attempts to make the club good again. So completely throwing Ronaldo under the bus. And this report talks about how the Glazers are giving him the green light to spend this money and this money and this money. I don't believe it. I think it's an absolute PR spin, because we've got reports slamming Ronaldo, causing Ronaldo an issue, while also saying the Glazers are going to do this, this and that, and spend all this money and bring De Jong back into it, when a reliable journalist said yesterday De Jong is completely over. For me, I like Mullock. I think he's a good journalist. I think he's been briefed by the club, and I think everything he's saying he's been told by the club. But I think the club are lying to him, because the club are doing everything they can to distract us from the Glazer out protest, make us turn on Ronaldo, make us, be less Glazer out really as well. Because when you lose 4-0 to Brentford just before there's a protest, the protest is going to be worse than ever. Reportedly, the expectation in Amsterdam is that Ajax will allow Antony to depart if Man United put the money on the table. And Mullock of the Mirror said the final bill for Man United this summer could go towards 300 million if they sign Ten Hag's desired target, saying we're going to spend 300 million. And he also followed up by saying that Manchester United will step up their bid to sign Cody Gakpo after the PSV's European fate has been decided. So 300 million budget, Gakpo, Antony and De Jong to United. What a PR report. What an absolute PR report. Well, there's no way we're getting all three. I think we'll get one of those three players. I think it will be Gakpo because he's the cheapest. I think this is a big, fat PR report by the Glazers, if I'm being honest. I think if we sign those three players, brilliant. If Jim Ratcliffe comes in, brilliant. But unfortunately, I'm going to be like this. I'll believe it when I see it. Buy another centre-back. I don't know if we need another centre-back. We do and we don't. It's just not a priority, is it? We need a right-back. There are reports that we are in for the Monaco right-back as well. Antony does want to come. I do want to get into this. So, basically, Antony's refusing to train. And I get this. Antony is seen that Man United have put in a £73 million bid for him and Ajax have rejected it. If you're Antony and you see Ajax rejecting a £73 million bid for you, you're like, for fuck's sake, like, they obviously really want me. You're obviously not selling me. Antony's pissed off. He's thinking, look, 72 million, what are you playing at? Why aren't you accepting that kind of money from me? I want to be with 10, let me go. It's obvious Antony wants to go. Antony had an interview today where he said he doesn't know if he'll be here next season. He literally confirmed, I don't know if I'll be at Ajax next month. We've got to see what happens. Antony's refusing to train. Antony's trying to force a move. Antony's literally saying, I don't know if I'll be here next month. But Ajax are rejecting £73 million for Antony. Now, I don't know what's more stupid. United chucking £73 million on Antony that scored 8 Eredivisie goals, or Ajax rejecting £70 million for Antony. It's an absolute madness. But the feeling at Old Trafford is basically the news that's come out is that United aren't going to up their bid for Antony. They feel like if Antony does all he can, like refuse to train, Ajax will eventually accept that bid. It seems that basically we're not going to up our bid because, come on, we shouldn't even be paying over 50 million for Antony, let alone 73 million. But our feeling is maybe Ajax will give in and accept that bid as Antony pushes for a move out of Ajax. And that's United's thought process with Antony. And if we cannot get Antony, if we feel that Antony is too expensive, we will go into Cody Gakpo. But Antony is refusing to train. Antony is very, very frustrated with Ajax. Antony has made it very clear he wants to leave, and he's made that very public that he wants to leave. And I don't know. Antony's stupidly expensive, but United really want Antony. Tenor really, really wants Antony. And if I'm being honest with you, we will sign one of Antony or Gakpo, and I think we will find out who it is in the coming days. But it's very, very obvious that you know Antony is pushing for that move, and hopefully that move can happen with Antony continually pushing for the move as well. Danny DeVito wants to partner Martinez. And I think Antony will have more success than Gakpo. I think, yes, he will, but I think Gakpo is better value for money, but Antony is a right winger. Antony is a baller. What are your thoughts on Antony for 100 million, guys? Let me know down below. And Antony is doing the same as Martinez. I think, yeah, Martinez started to push for the move, and I think Antony is starting to push for the move. And do you think Maguire will go to Chelsea? Alice? No, I think because Baye's gone to Marseille, there's no way Maguire leaves. Unless we sign a centre-back, which we won't. I do think Maguire will stay. I think Chelsea want Maguire, and I believe that Chelsea are in for Maguire, but I don't think United will let Maguire go. Also, Newcastle are in for McTominay, but I don't think United are going to let McTominay go. And I think we can let McTominay go and get a replacement that's miles better than McTominay in a heartbeat. I think with Maguire, it's hard. He is harder to replace as well. But yeah, people saying Fernandes and Martinez. But basically, Antony will help the forward because he's hungry and has to prove himself. I agree. I think Antony's the right profile. Someone hungry that wants to prove himself in the Premier League coming out as well. So the final report came in from Jonathan Schrager, and he said that there was a behind closed door training session at Ajax today, and Antony refused to take part. And Ajax are now willing to sell the player for £85 million, but they will not sell for any less than €100 million. Will United be stupid enough to pay that money? We will have to wait and see. And coming in again with transfer news, Casemiro is in Manchester, guys, and Casemiro's arrival is viewed as a blessing, while some players have said a bulldog like him was needed for Manchester United for some time. And apparently the Man United fans have taken Casemiro joining for a very good thing, and that Romano said the first part of the medical for Casemiro is ongoing. He has landed in Manchester this morning along with some of his agents. So Casemiro is in Manchester as we speak. United are working on deals and new offers for Antony, Jong and Gakpo as we speak. What is PR? What is real? What is false? We will have to wait and see. But United very, very busy in the transfer window. And look, I am going to throw this out, guys. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please make sure you're subscribed to Alice Talks Football, because there's loads and loads of news coming out at the moment. There's a new player we're linked to every day. There's a new story every day. And if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, make sure you're subscribed to Alice Talks Football, because the minute we sign a player, I'll be live. The minute we sell a player, I'll be live. All the latest news, I'll be live to let you know, because reportedly 5 more players in, Casemiro and 4 others in, and 4 out as well. So 5 in, 4 out. So it's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, let's have a look. Let's get into the Glazers leaving reports, because there's some reports coming out that the Glazers could be leaving United. Nick has said that United have said Maguire's not for sale, which I believe is true. Gakpo will be afraid of the Premier League. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see as well. And Saeed said Antony has that Brazilian swag, and I think he'll be better than Gakpo, and he's left-footed, which is a profile that we need more, absolutely. And even if United spend 300 million this summer, don't be deceived. It's the money Boris has generated by the club. If a small club like City could be transformed, 100% you spot on there. Fred Casemiro did work well for Brazil, and hopefully we can get Jong, but I do think it's a smoke screen to distract us from the Glazer out movement. I don't fully believe that United are going all out for Frenkie de Jong. I think that deal is off and done with, but we will have to wait and see. But should we get into the report about the Glazers potentially leaving Manchester United? Shall we get into it? So Adam Crafton, a very good journalist, has said this. Jim Ratcliffe has a strong interest in Manchester United, but there has not yet been indications that the Glazers want to concede majority control. Some within the industry have speculated Ratcliffe's public interest is an attempt to bounce them into considering a full sale. They want to sell stakes in the club, they don't want a full sale. Multiple sources have told how there were significant differences between the 6 Glazers in terms of the ongoing interest and commitment in Man United. And many believe Joel Glazer is the one whose resolve needs to be broken in order for the club to be fully sold. So what's coming out is basically that some of the Glazers the Glazers all have different ideas about what to do with United. Some of the Glazers saying just sell United, take the money. But Joel Glazer was the one who gets the final say. And Joel Glazer seems to be the only one in the Glazer family that's not open to selling the club. Adam also said that Sir Jim Brailsford, who is the director of sport team Ineos, is a key figure for advising Sir Jim Ratcliffe with regards to Manchester United, and their desire to purchase the club remains undimmed. So Jim Ratcliffe is still in for United. Jim Ratcliffe wants United. He doesn't want a minor stake. Jim Ratcliffe wants full control of United. And now the pressure's on the Glazers. Now the Glazer knows someone wants to buy the club. The Glazers have to make a decision whether to buy or sell United. And it seems that Joel Glazer does not want to sell United, but others within the Glazer family are very open to selling Manchester United. And in fact, the Athletics reported this means this story is very much true. And I will say, guys, take this as a very, very positive side. Take this as a positive. Take this as a really, really good sign. The Glazers are finally potentially thinking and actually really thinking about selling United for the first time in their 17-year ownership. This is the first time in their 17-year ownership where we've really had strong reports from good journalists about United potentially being for sale, reports coming in that United will be sold in the next 2 years. The Glazers are really having conversations about what to do with United. So the pressure is really, really on the Glazer family. You've got to remember that. So you need to continue the Glazer out protest. We need to continue the Glazer out protest, whether we win, whether we lose, whether we draw, whether we sign a load of players, whether we don't. We need to continue the Glazer out protest, because the fact that they're actually debating selling the club or not shows that we're really having a number on them. Sir Jim is going to buy other shareholders and get in and then take over and buy out the club. Hopefully, if they don't sell yet. But yeah, it's crazy as well. Make sure you smash that like button as well. If this PR stunt spending happened, financial situation will get worse. The Glazers have taken from United budget and not Glazer money, which should be spent on other clubs' investments. The Glazers and their PR stunt needs to go. There is a report that the Glazers are going to raise funds for these transfers that they're going to do for Man United by selling our TV rights, which would then turn us into Barcelona, which hopefully they don't do, because if they do that, then there will be a big fat rant if the Glazers sell our TV rights, because that would be an absolute joke. Honestly, hopefully we can just get them out. But it's obvious the pressure is on the Glazers. It's obvious that if there is a time to get rid of the Glazers, it is now. The fact that even having discussions about selling the club, the fact there's board meetings about selling the club, says it all. That the Glazers are really feeling the heat. The Glazers are really feeling the pressure, and it's up to us to see if we can drive them out of the club. And I think I don't care that we sign Casemiro. I don't care that our budget could be £300 million. What I will say is, we've just got to keep the pressure on the Glazers, because I really think they're starting to crumble. I really think they're starting to get scared, guys, as well. Big up Daniel in the chat. Glazers out, everybody. Let me know your thoughts down below. They're making money by just saying they think they might sell. Potentially, though, that's what they could be doing. They could be seeing how Elon Musk saying he'd buy United has driven the stocks up, and the Glazers could now do loads of PR spin leaks about saying United want to sell the club to see if they can make even more money from us. Now, I'm going to quickly, before I get into the next story about the Glazers and that, I do want to do a cheeky poll for you guys, because I do know you guys like a poll. And my poll for you is, I want to know if you would rather have if you rather have Antony or Gakpo. So I'm going to put the poll in the YouTube chat in 30 seconds. So Antony would be 85 million, which is just crazy, and Gakpo would be 38 million, which again is crazy. But where would you rather spend the money? I'm going to ask the community now. I'm going to put a poll in so you can actually vote and see what it is. A lot of people saying both. My other question to you is, I just put the poll up. Would you bring in just one of Antony and Gakpo and keep Rashford, or would you guys sell Rashford to PSG and bring in both Antony and Gakpo as well? Answer the poll and then let me know in the chat. Sell Rashford and 2 wingers, or keep Rashford and 1 winger. Let me know in the chat what you do, because I think that would be really, really interesting to see what you do as well. The Athletic have come out with a report pretty much re-saying what Adam Crafton has said, and it said that multiple sources have said basically that many believe Joel Glazer is the one who needs to resolve for United to be sold, and it kind of seems that Joel Glazer is just not ready to sell United. And look, you know, this, as someone said earlier, could even the talks of Man United being for sale be a PR spin to distract? You know, I don't know. Obviously, we know Jim Ratcliffe wants to buy United. That's not a PR skin. Jim Ratcliffe's gone public that he wants to buy United. But could the reports about the Glazers be considering selling the club be a bit of a PR spin to get the stocks up? So then when they or it could be a game. The Glazers want everyone to know they're considering about selling the club, so the stocks will go up. So when they sell the club, they get more. Because Elon Musk tweets about taking over United as a joke, and our stocks go right up. So maybe the Glazers, you know, don't want to sell, but they'll want the media to think they are considering selling to get the stocks up as well. And obviously, I want to get into some more news in a second, but let me know your thoughts on the whole. Would you sign 2 wingers and sell Rashford, or would you keep Rashford and sign 1 winger? Big up for subscribing to the channel, mate, as well. The lever's not happening. We will talk about the Glazers potentially selling Manchester United's TV rights. I don't think Gakpo will be a number 9, but I do think Gakpo is a quality player as well. So make sure you get voting in that poll. Gakpo or thingy. People say sell Rashford, pace merchant. The thing about Rashford is, you know, there's 2 things the thing about Rashford is we just don't know what's going to happen with him. If Rashford finds his form, and if Rashford becomes the player he was 2 seasons ago, there's no way I'm selling Rashford, because he got 25 goals and like 12 assists in a season. He can get goals, he can get assists, but you need Rashford to be back at his best to do that. So I agree that I actually think Rashford's a good player with a lack of a brain. And I generally don't know how I'd feel about selling Rashford, because I think if you can get 60 million for Rashford, it's a no-brainer. But I think, you know, Gakpo's not proved in the Premier League. Antony's not proved in the Premier League. We know Rashford can do it in the Premier League when he's in form. You know, Rashford could go to PSG and be brilliant, and Gakpo could be even worse than Rashford. But I don't think that's the case. I mean, and I still like Rashford. I still believe there's someone in Rashford. But if we can get 60 million for Rashford, I think I would sell Rashford and bring in two wingers, if I'm being 100% honest. That's just my opinion as well. I need to go for either Moises Caicedo or Conrad Lamas. This Daniel. I 100% agree. Rashford has pace, but serious skill. Rashford has pace, but Rashford lacks IQ. I'll tell you this about Marcus Rashford. He's been found out. Marcus Rashford was very good in the 1920 season and started the 2021 season very, very well. But Marcus Rashford had been found out by oppositions. Oppositions have figured out that what Rashford does, he runs at you, he does the same flip-flap skill, he does the same dummy skill, and everyone knows what Marcus Rashford's going to do now. So everyone's figured him out, and now Rashford's been figured out. He doesn't have a plan B. I think that's very much what's going on with Rashford, and I think he's been crap because 1, he lacks intelligence, and 2, he's been figured out. And I also think because when we were playing counter-attacking football under Ollie, his pace was very, very good, but now we're playing possession football. I don't think it suits Rashford as much. And I do think, for me, this is the last season for Rashford. If Rashford is crap this season, sell him. If the PSG are going to give us 60 million for Rashford, sell him. But I still think Ten Hag could get the best out of Rashford. I still believe there's a player there, and I will say that. But we definitely need to get new wingers in as well. I definitely want to see Garnacho given a chance as well. I think Rashford has had chances, and he's going to have to prove himself. Nate, thank you for the super chat. The Prem proven stuff is a load of crap. Yeah and no. It is, and I get why people say that. But there's just some players that don't make it in the Prem but make it in other leagues. And, if you're going from the Eredivisie to the Prem, it's a massive thing. And, whereas if you're buying a player already in the Prem, you know they can cope with the physicality of the Prem. You look at all the Bundesliga players, Kai Havertz, Jadon Sancho, you look at Nicolas Pepe from the Ligue 1. I do think Prem... Look, I think Prem proven isn't, you don't need to buy a player because they're Prem proven. I'm all for buying a player from any other league. In fact, I prefer buying players that aren't in the Premier League because they're better value for money. But when you buy a player that's not in the Premier League, I think it's cheaper, it's better value for money, but you don't know how they're going to be in the Premier League. It's sort of what I'm trying to get across with that point, if that makes sense as well. But I think a lot of people think Rashford's had to go. I do agree Rashford's had enough chances. I think players like Rashford and McTominay have had their fair share of chances as well. Haaland wasn't Prem proven. You make a very good point. But I think everyone just knew Haaland was an absolute fucking monster as well. More news on Sergeant Ratcliffe on United plug, which I will keep an eye on in a second as well. But Van Nistelrooy was unproven till he played it. Yeah, Prem proven's not the end of the world. It's 100% not the end of the world. It's just more of a risk as well. By Hakimi, United reportedly in for Hakimi, but I do think that's PR. And yeah, you make a good point there. Gundogan's a small player from the Bundesliga. Yeah, I mean, look, as I said, I think it's more of a risk buying someone outside the Premier League, but they're better value for money. And I think, to be fair, I always say I'm bored of United buying obvious players in the Premier League. I'd rather we go outside. And Prem proven isn't the end of the world as long as they are a good player. Like, I know with Casemiro, I'm not thinking, he's not Prem proven. I know Casemiro is going to fit right in because he's a top player. I just think it's with young players. For me, if you get what I mean as well. Antony did not train today. Yeah, Antony is forcing the move. Antony's refusing to train. Antony very much wants to leave Ajax, and that's very obvious. So I think that move will happen soon. I do think we will get Antony or Gakpo. I don't think we'll get both. I know reports are saying we're going to get both Antony and Gakpo. I think that is a little bit of a PR distraction. I think we will get one of them, but I don't know who. I can't tell you who because Antony's forcing the move, and it's obvious we really want Antony if we're willing to put in a bid that high. But at the same time, Gakpo to United, I think is the reason it's not as hot as Antony to United is because United have to wait for PSV's Champions League qualification games to go through before they get Gakpo. So it's an interesting one, but I think we will get one of them. I'll be honest, I'd rather get Gakpo and a midfielder than Antony and no one else. We've got Casemiro, and I'd rather the next deal be Gakpo and a midfielder rather than spend the rest of the funds on Antony. I also think we need a right back. We are in for a right back, which I will get into in a second as well. Hope to see Varane, Martinez on Monday and not Maguire. Well, reportedly Maguire's going to be dropped, but there are reports that Martinez could stay in midfield. De Jong is staying. Well, reportedly the Barcelona can't afford him to stay. So look, I don't think we're getting De Jong. I think the fact that we're back in for De Jong, and look, if I'm being honest, I think the news reports coming out saying that United are preparing a second offer for De Jong is bullshit. I don't believe the news reports that are coming out saying we're preparing a second offer for De Jong. I do think it's off, but it's just news I'm covering as well. I think it's a Glazer PR distraction as well. We want Neymar. I'd take Neymar at United. Thing is, now Mbappe basically owns PSG and hates Neymar. Neymar has to leave PSG, but unless we give Neymar ridiculous money, he's not coming to United. But yeah, it's a crazy one as yet. Well, full-time Bournemouth 3-0. I thought it was 4-0. Was it 3-0? Arsenal. We 3-0. That's where Jesus scored. I'm assuming it was ruled out. Arsenal won 3-0. Should we look at the Premier League table? This is just miserable. Even Bournemouth have 3 points and they're shite. Arsenal top of the Premier League. Here we are, 20th. You know what's mad? Is if West Ham pick up points and we lose to Liverpool, we'll be the only team without points. Everton have got points and they're shit. Bournemouth have got 3 points and they're shit. Villa have got 3 points and they're shit. We need to spend madness. I'm telling you this now. West Ham are Brighton, so Brighton, please beat West Ham so we're not bottom. But How are we feeling for Man U Liverpool? Because if we win, we go above Liverpool. Do you know what's mad? Is a win versus Liverpool will lift this mood so much. Because if we lose to Liverpool, we're the only team probably on 0 points, rock bottom of the Premier League, and we've lost to Liverpool. But if we beat Liverpool, we go above them in the league. So even though we're only on 3 points from 3 games, when you go above Liverpool in the league, it feels like, honestly, it sounds weird. If we beat Liverpool and go above them in the league, I almost feel like we're in the top 4, which sounds crazy. But if we lose to Liverpool, I'm thinking, fuck, we're getting relegated. It's crazy. We need to beat Liverpool. I will take a draw. Because of the state of our club, I will take a draw versus Liverpool. But I do not want to, we need a point. The only way, I will never take a loss versus Liverpool. But if we say we lost 3-2 and we were the better team and we completely outplayed them, I could take that loss in a positive way and go, look, we played well. It's a major improvement onwards and upwards. Do you know what I mean? Like when Arsenal lost 2-1 to City. But for me, Liverpool aren't great. They look a bit rocky. We are rocky, but we've got this Casemiro boost. We've got this we need to do better boost. Look, Fred, you got Casemiro's taking your spot. You need to do better. So I don't think we're going to beat Liverpool. I think we're going to get battered 5-4-0. But if we can just not embarrass ourselves. I mean, look, let me get into a little bit more news for you guys. Let me get into some more news for you guys. So let's get into. Let me just take a quick drink. Basically, it has been reported that Martinez could potentially play in midfield as well. This is obviously the report that's come out that I forgot to get on the stream. From The Athletic, that Ratcliffe has a strong interest in United. There's not been any indication that the Glazers want to concede the majority. Some within the industry have speculated Ratcliffe's public interest is an attempt to bounce them into a full sale. The Glazers are selling bits of United, but they don't want to completely sell the club. And Ratcliffe is obviously pressuring him to sell the club. Mo Salah's the difference between two teams as well. I mean, I've captained most. Did I captain Jesus for Mo Salah? I captained one of them as well. No way we can beat Liverpool when we're not Fred. Look, let's go into the Liverpool lineup. I will get indication. I will be live tomorrow night, and I will message someone who normally gets a bit of insight about team news tomorrow to kind of tell you what the team could look like tomorrow, because we actually got our last team prediction spot on. Which one? So we know David De Gea is going to play. That is a given. But if I'm being honest, we've also been told Rafael Varane is going to play. And reportedly Maguire could be dropped. But I've been told that apparently Martinez is going in midfield, which I don't think will happen. I don't think we're going to play Martinez in midfield. I don't trust the person that's told me this is a hit and miss journalist. But reportedly, there is reports and rumours that Martinez is going in midfield. I'm not confident with it. But we've been told by lots of journalists Varane is expected to start. We've been told by lots of journalists Varane is expected to start. There's a rumour going around that Martinez could be playing in midfield. There's a rumour going around that Maguire could be dropped. It's either Varane and Martinez or Varane and Maguire and Martinez in midfield. So I'm going to look at the two lineups could be. Casemiro will not play. Now, I think he should go and give Donny a go, because I think it's also come out that Eric Ten Hag is making major changes from Brentford. So I think he should go and give Donny a go. And I actually think, because we want to keep possession better, he should play Eriksen ahead of Bruno Fernandes. And Donny and Eriksen did link up well. I think Sancho will keep his spot on the right. I think that Martial we could see on the left with Ronaldo up top. Now, to be fair, I think there could be chances for actually, you know what? I think he wants to play Martial as a striker, though. This is the thing. He wants to play Martial as a striker. So I'm not sure he could. He might even, because it's Liverpool and he wants to keep possession, do Martial. He might drop Ronaldo. You know, I would like to see Garnacho play, if I'm being honest. Look, we might even see this. I'm being honest, we might see this. Because he wants to keep the ball. He wants people that he knows are going to work for this game. And I reportedly Malacia is set to get his first start against Liverpool, which will be a tough game. Malacia against Salah will be a tough game. And I think Dalot will keep his place just because he does not rate Wan-Bissaka. But, I mean, this could be our lineup going into the Liverpool game. I'm not saying this is our lineup. I'm saying this potentially could be our lineup, which for me is scary. For me, is absolutely scary. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you think about this lineup, guys? Look, Nick says Dalot, Varane, Martinez, Malacia, Fred, Donny, Sancho, Eriksen, Rashford, Ronaldo. I'll tell you my lineup. So I'd play Martinez at the back with Varane, and I'd try and build a Martinez-Varane partnership up. You know what? And I know this sounds crazy. I'm at the point where I think I would play Garner and Donny. I really think I think because when we played Raul Vallecano in that pre-season friendly, the Garner, Donny, Eriksen midfield gave us some kind of balance. I'm being 100% honest with you guys. We got battered to Brentford so badly that I think I would drop half the team. I would. Now, I'm not saying this team was great. I'm not saying this team's going to beat Liverpool. But I'd be like, we got battered to Brentford so badly, we need to completely change the team. And this would generally on the screen be my lineup. This would 100% be my lineup on the screen because you've got Malacia and Garnacho, which means we're very vulnerable down that left-hand side, potentially with Garner as the left-side midfielder and Martinez as the left centre-back. We are very vulnerable down that left-hand side, but at the same time, it's players that want to prove themselves, players that you know are going to give it their all. Because at the end of the day, we didn't lose to Brentford just because they... the lineup we put up against Brentford should never be losing 4-0 to Brentford. The reason Man United lost 4-0 to Brentford is because Brentford were hungrier than us. Ten Hag said it. Brentford ran 14 kilometres further than us. They were hungrier than us. So at the end of the day, United have got a serious problem with, running, with trying. And I think with this team, you get someone that's going to run, you get someone that's going to try. Maybe you put Fred in over... I think Fred, if I'm being honest, I think we will see Fred. Because Garner's for sale, we will see Fred. I will say that now. I don't think we'll see Garner. I just said I want to play Garner. But you've got to play players that are hungry. Are going to run around a lot. Players that have got to prove themselves. Not the same players that were playing last year and crap. Because I'm telling you this now. 9 of the 11 players that started versus Brentford were core to our worst ever season. They didn't try last season. They didn't run last season. They weren't hungry last season. What makes you think that all of a sudden they're going to be hungry again this season when in the first 2 games this season they let you down? You need to completely change up the lineup because we're losing to Brentford because they're willing to try and run further than us and outplay us. That's why we're losing to Brentford. Not because Brentford are a miles better team than us as well. To be fair, I will get into this. I hate 3 at the back, but I actually think, I don't know if Ten Hag will do it. I don't think Ten Hag will do it, but I do think Man United's best bet is playing 3 at the back. And I will tell you what I actually think could be our best lineup for the Brentford game. I'm telling you this now. I'm going to show you what I believe will be our best lineup for the Brentford game. Okay? And it will be, I'm telling you this now, it will be, we'll have to take Donny out for balance. We will go with, people are laughing. Generally, I think this could be our best bet for the Brentford game. Not Brentford, fucking Liverpool. What am I on? This could generally be our best lineup for the Liverpool game. Do I like it? No. But as Casemiro, I can't play. Our team is shit. I think actually you'd have to go Fred and Donny. You'd have to go Fred and Donny, and then I think you'd have to go Martial. I mean, I don't even know. I think really our best lineup would probably be this. Because and you've got to beg Sancho to track back. Look, I actually think Sancho should be dropped. I like Sancho, but you know what? Rashford did more running than him versus Brentford. But I actually think this could be our best lineup versus Liverpool. And if people are going to go crazy, but Rashford versus Trent, okay? Rashford versus Trent, it could work. I think Garnacho could really cause Trent some problems. I do think we've got to put Rashford, Martial or Garnacho up against Trent. I point Trent out as a weak spot for Liverpool, and I always will. And I think someone like Garnacho, who was causing problems versus Raul Vallecano, I think he could cause some problems. So maybe. But I don't think Donny will start. I won't think Donny will start. I'm just looking at potential ways we can play. CR7 is probably going to start. I was just thinking that maybe I just know that Martial's back. I've also seen different lines. This isn't who's going to play. This is just like me playing around with potential lineups for the Liverpool game as well. That's it. Maguire with 3 at the back is class. Just look at him for England. Maguire is so much better at 3 at the back system, 100%. I would like to see I generally think Garnacho could cause Trent some issues. Marcus Rashford, I like Rashford, but he's gone too predictable. Rashford caused Trent a lot of issues to begin with when Trent couldn't predict Rashford, but no one can predict what Garnacho is going to do. Alice, I don't understand why we've got to play James. Don't understand why we don't play James Garner. He's 10 times better than McToy. I agree, but he's up for sale, so I don't think we will be playing Garner. Don't forget, Casemiro will be able to play after the Liverpool game. We've got Casemiro after Liverpool, which is brilliant. And I don't like five at the back, but maybe that is our best bet. I doubt we'll go through at the back as we only have Varane, Maguire, Lindelof, and Martinez and Baez left. I do agree with that. I don't think we will, but it could be our best bet. Wan-Bissaka over Dalot. He just does not. He just wants to get rid of Wan-Bissaka, so I expect Dalot. But I think there's got to. At the end of the day, I'm going to be really interested to see what Ten Hag does versus Liverpool because there's expected to be major changes. But what I will say, and all I'm really going to say about the Man United Liverpool game is I hope Ten Hag makes some big calls and some big changes. I do not want to see what we've been seeing a lot lately. I want to see some big changes, some big difference at United. That's what I want to see as well. But yeah, look, guys, let me know who you play. Let me know who you play versus Liverpool down below. Who would you play in midfield? I would like to see Garner, Donny, Eriksen, Mill free as well. But honestly, I'm telling you this now. Antony, there's going to be some big news coming in. Cody Gakpo, there's going to be some good news coming in. We also know Jim. What's that? Sorry about that. But Jim Ratcliffe wants to buy United, and he's made it very clear he wants to buy Manchester United. So I'm telling you this now. I just retweeted something funny on Twitter. You should check it out. Let me share my screen. I'll tell you this now. I just found something funny on Twitter. I'm going to share my screen with you quickly before I end the live stream. Keep an eye on the Cody Gakpo news. Keep an eye on the Antony news. I'll see if there's anything in this De Jong news, but I think it's a PR spin and a distraction. Remember, GLAZERS out. No matter who we sign, no matter how we play, do not forget GLAZERS out. There's a buyer that wants to fully buy the club. And I tell you this now, Avram's debating selling the club. We now need to convince Joel to sell the club. So remember, GLAZERS out. And I want to say, make sure you are subscribed if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, because I will be live keeping you up to date on all the news. But there is Mr. Avram Glazer on the screen. And if you want this little ratty vermin out of our club, smash that fucking like button as well. I'm telling you this now. All right, I'm off now. Thanks for watching. See you next time, guys, and bye.